Welcome to the dump. We are here. Tyler is here on the other side. I'm Aaron here, and we are here to talk data dump. And how many times did I say here in that first 30 seconds? I don't know.
I think the way to counter that is to say dump as many times as possible now in the next 10 seconds.
We're going to be dumping on Zac Veen, dumping on Jamie Arnold, Arquette. Liam Doyle has a dumper. So we have some things that we can dive into. Draft is what, 3 days away? Your holiday Sunday?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yes.
3 days. 2 days.
I'll get like four mountain time for my Colorado people. It's always a little unclear at this point. Like until that you can like see the TV schedule, like that's made available. It's hard to know exactly when it's starting, but 4 mountain time. Don't quote me. I think that's when the draft is starting.
Be ready around 4 mountain time, give or take a few minutes. Because I remember doing that last year and just like I have no idea when this starts, guys. And I think we were still looking for the TV schedule like hours before it started. But we're doing that. But first up is Zac Veen. So we saw Yanquiel Fernandez get called up. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't been able to watch. Been on vacation, just super busy. Did see his play in Boston. Wasn't well, but none of that play was well when Duran got to third. But is Zac Veen coming up? I don't know. We all know what his struggles were. The high heat, swinging at it all the time in the major leagues. But what adjustments has he been making since returning from his injury at Albuquerque? And that's what we're here to data dump about. Right now, everything looks pretty solid on the surface level. Right now, his AAA numbers this year, before and post injury and all that, 8.4% walk rate, 18 strikeout rate, a 182 ISO, which I absolutely love. And that all translates to a 105 WRC plus. Pretty good, considering an injury and up and down. And like you have the pressure to be on the major league squad out of spring training. You don't make it, you go, blah, blah, blah. Overall, the traditional numbers on the surface level look pretty good.
Yeah, it's good to see him kind of bounce back a little bit because he went from we couldn't imagine a hotter pace when he came up to the big leagues. It was like this guy can do no wrong. And then the second he gets to the big leagues, I think he had like 5 hits in 10 or 11 games, like which isn't the worst thing, but it looked rough. It looked rough. It wasn't just the numbers turned out rough. The wheels came off for him really. And so needed to get him. And early on when he went back to the minors, the numbers weren't there. Like it looked like he had his swagger had been taken away by Bud Black. Like we talked about that in spring training. It kind of does seem like he got his wings clipped a little bit. But he seems to be turning a corner again these last couple weeks.
Yeah, and to the major league numbers, he ended his major league stint with a 0.91 average, 49% whiff rate. And we all know the strikeouts or fastballs up and in were terrible. 60% whiff on up in the zone fastballs with a 0 batting average. So clearly, we all see it. Zac Veen sees it. The whole crew sees it. What does he need to work on is the up and in fastball. My whole argument about the AAA to the minor league level is you're not going to see that good of pitching at the AAA level as you will at the major league. So like, what good does sending him down actually do? I still don't know. We've seen it work. Jordan Beck, right? He got sent down. He's been on a tear, slowed down a little bit this year. Hunter Goodman ended last year at AAA. He's now just an all-star, your mom's favorite player, all-star. Go ahead and check that Banter session out on our YouTube page. But how does Zac Veen get better down in the AAA level when the competition just isn't as good? Well, we looked at it. The fastball mile per hour is the same. He was seeing on average 93 miles per hour at the major league level. He's seeing 93 miles per hour at the AAA level. Take that for what it's worth. Obviously, it's just data, but you can different pitchers, different locations, all that kind of stuff. But what's good right now with Zac Veen and the fastball, since his post option, he's hitting 388 average, a 15.9% whiff rate. What do you have on percentage? And then a 21% whiff rate on up in the zone fastballs, right? So he's actually hitting fastballs up and in, and he's actually hitting fastballs.
Yeah, and that was the key. Like his swing, I also have not paid enough attention to see if there's been any swing changes, or it's just been in his head, like, I can't hit fastballs. I need to like hunker down here, and maybe I'll get beat with secondaries, but I've got to be able to sit on the fastball. We'll have to kind of take a closer look at that. But the fact that right now he's actually hitting fastballs better than anything else, and that had been his weakness, makes me think he's going to be able to come back up either this month or next and get the ball rolling again.
Somebody did tweet at us that he wasn't in the lineup last night, in the Albuquerque Isotopes lineup last night. So maybe
then he came in and pinch hit, so
okay.
that soured. I was like, all right, now we're gonna see if he doesn't play. I think there's a good shot that he's getting called up. I think he's kind of tied to Yanquiel Fernandez right now, though. Like, if they decide let's option Fernandez, he's gotten his taste. It's going to be Zac Veen coming back up and vice versa. You're not going to have both of them on the roster at the same time, unless like Mickey Moniak gets traded, and we're probably a couple weeks away from that even being a possibility. So
yeah, we'll get into that next time.
Yeah.
There's some trade pieces, or at least DFA options there. But kind of back to your point about the off speed, being ready for the off speed if you're not getting the fastball. His contact rate has gone up tremendously in the AAA levels compared to his major league numbers. Even at his AAA numbers from last year, they've gone up. But he's swinging half the time in AAA, which I think is about average. I think you want a little bit up more than that. I should, for some reason, 60% is in my mind like the swing percent that you want. I don't know.
I think that's strike percentage is like 60% from like pitchers.
Yeah,
that's I think swing percentage around 50 is pretty normal though.
Pretty good. And that's in comparison to 60% at the MLB level. So being a little bit more patient. But the biggest difference that I noticed was the zone contact rate. The zone contact rate at the major league level was 62%. Clearly struggling across the board, right? It is now at 87. So he's making contact, making good swing decisions in the zone at an 87% clip. Much, much better. Contact on all the pitches is 80%, was at 58 in the MLB. I just think being able to make contact leads to more growth later. You're seeing the fastball. I can put wood on the ball for the off speeds. I can find a way to be productive instead of just trying to swing for the fences. His fly ball rate is down compared to his major league stint. Line drives and ground balls is where this man should live. That's where he's living right now. Pull rate's about 48%. That's about normal throughout his minor league career, kind of what you want to see. And then center and oppo are about the same. I don't know. I find that super encouraging that he's making contact, because the biggest concern was swing and miss. So if we're starting to learn that skill, that can only be better down the road.
Yeah, and you definitely want to. Yeah, you want to see that line drive kind of spike, because he has that swing that it looks good, and when he hits it right, when he finds the barrel, you're like, that guy is incredible. But his swing path is weird in that it's going to create a lot of high fly balls, and it's going to create a lot of spiked ground balls. So finding more of that balance, I think that's also a really good indication if he's right, is going to be a higher line drive percentage, because he's ultimately never going to be a huge fly ball hitter. Like, he's going to be able to elevate, but his swing is geared to hit hard line drives. Like, a lot of his home runs are going to be ones in which he hits hard on a line, and he's going to hit. I mean, every player is going to hit fly balls, but he does not want to be selling out for fly balls, because that's where he's going to have his like fastball issues and everything like that.
Yep.
Because he's basically getting even longer with his swing when he's trying to elevate. So looking for those line drives is definitely a key.
Yeah, and it's gone up 10% compared to last year at AAA. It was at 15% last year at AAA. It's now at 26% line drive percentage at this season. So he's finding that swing. Ground ball rate's it's dropped 6% compared to last year. So I think if he lives in that under the waist, line drives, ground balls, I think that's where he is. One other thing I noticed, and then we can go on to the college arms. His stolen base numbers are down at the AAA level. I know that was a point of emphasis for Bud Black and the crew to not send him. He's a little chaotic. Need to hone that in a little bit. He has 6 stolen bases right now at this point in AAA. Same amount of games last year. He had 21. So I don't know what that's about. I don't know if there's just less opportunities or he's told, like, you're here to work on your swing. Don't get hurt. You're not stealing bases. I don't know. I just found that a little interesting. And the Rockies just don't like to steal bases. They're not going to put emphasis on that either, is what it feels like.
Yeah, I think they lack some of that like nuanced strategy and stuff to be like, all right, this is your opportunity to steal, yada yada yada. But I think more it is like, hey, put focus on the swing. Like, don't make your goal right now to get on base by any means and to steal a bag. Like, make it your goal right now to become like the best hitting version of yourself. So like I like the scrapper version of Zac Veen because he can be that, like, get on base a decent amount and steal a ton, but
yeah,
need to see him get those fundamentals back into groove. But I didn't realize that. Yeah, he is stealing at a very low rate. He's usually a guy who's still twice every time he's on base, like make 2 steal attempts. Like he'll steal third, like pretty much every time he gets on first. He's trying to steal second and then third, but like, yeah, chill out.
And I think that's what he was told. Yeah, 6 stolen bases, caught stealing twice. Last year, 21 stolen bases, caught stealing 4 times. So something there. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe we get somebody on to talk about that. Just found that interesting. I would love it for him. I love Chandler Simpson. Watching Chandler Simpson cause chaos in the major leagues is fantastic. And I know Zac Veen is nowhere near Chandler Simpson's speed, but he's pretty close. And so that would just be super fun. Imagine Chandler Simpson on the Colorado Rockies. Like, how much fun that would be in front of like a Doyle, McMahon. I would love that.
Yeah, and I just like realized Chandler Simpson has 26 stolen bases already. That's ridiculous.
He's only been into the major like 50 games, I think.
Yeah, like on the dot, 51 games. And I think he's kind of gotten some inconsistent playing time lately. Yeah, yes. I want a Chandler Simpson on my team.
Dude, so much fun to watch.
And I feel like that's almost a good transition. I mean, that's Zac Veen in some ways, but I think that's also a good transition to the draft. Like, let's find a guy in the draft who's just 80 speed, gets on base, and is just being a dog out there. DAWG, dog. I know there's still been some people being like, this is the proper way to spell it. And it's like,
get out of here.
let's have some fun, please.
That's all this is. It's fun.
But yeah, the freaking draft. Yeah, Chandler Simpson, a guy like a couple years ago, I'm like, let's get him at Coors Field. And we're not, unfortunately, on theme. We don't have a Chandler Simpson to talk about right now. We'll talk about that on the draft stream and whatnot. But we got some actual dogs. Like, this is a fun college class at the top this year. Like, not overly different from last year. I mean, you lack a Charlie Condon and a Travis Bazzana, but otherwise there's some similarities to last year's draft, like good on college pitching at the very top. So excited to talk about these guys a little bit more and just see it play out. I mean, the top of the draft is just so fun because you can never completely project like where each guy is going to end up. And I mean, for these guys, they're going to be long-term starters at the big league level, wherever they end up.
And that's what's exciting. So remind us all, me included, what picks do we have in the top 100? Because I believe day 1 is rounds 1 through 3, the competitive balance picks. We go all the way through that on Sunday night. And then it's like trickled out on Monday and Tuesday, I believe. But day 1, Sunday night, what picks do we have? I think we have 4 in the top 100. Just remind us what we have.
Yeah, so 4 in the first round, 45 to start the second round, 74 to end competitive balance round B, and then 77 to start the third round. And then they'll be on the clock again just after the top 100, and that'll be kicking off basically day 2. They'll have the second pick on day 2, pick 107. So
5 in the top 107. Okay, perfect.
And yeah, so for reference for people, because usually it's been like they do through round 2 and whatever compensation picks there are. They added round 3, and then the Angels have a comp pick as well. So We're going through pick 105 on Sunday, and then going from 106 to like I don't even know how many picks are in the draft. Like it's several hundred picks though on day 2. They're going round 4 to 20. So
Oh
if you're
wow,
people
was
locked
off.
in, like grab popcorn, drink coffee in the morning because I think it starts at 9:30 if you're a mountain time person. Like it'll be crazy. We're definitely not streaming the whole day because
No,
we're round
We-
4 to 20. Yeah. But we'll get some, yeah. Lewis saying Monday will be brutal.
it's gonna be fun though. I have the day off with no kids, so maybe Lewis. I know Tyler's got bigger things to focus on, but maybe Lewis, we got to talk.
Oh yeah, we can work some things out. Like I will not be on the entire time, but I can get you guys some stuff and be in the behind the curtain at least. So
Yeah, there we go. All right, so we have 5 in the top 107, 4 on day 1. So it's a big day on Sunday. Obviously, there's the big guys up top, and we're going to get into those. We'll start data dumping on 3 names. We're going to give 3 names here in a little bit, but just who are some of your 35 through 100 names? Like 2 or 3 guys. Don't have to spend a lot of time sharing about it, but like that would be a guy that I would want in the Rockies organization.
Lewis and I got into it a bit on our last pot like 2 weeks ago, and it's just so tough because it changes pretty much constantly. I threw out some pitchers. I think Patrick Forbes from Louisville would be a really nice second pick. Like I guess for us, usually it's you got that comp pick, but it's the second round. Patrick Forbes, Riley Quick from Alabama, Anthony Ianson from LSU, JB Middleton from Southern Miss. Really one of those guys. I forget who the 5th guy I had in that grouping was, but there was another college pitcher. But those are the 4 guys that might sneak into the first round. I bet one of them's available at 45. The Rockies probably will be circling those guys pretty heavily. And we're not going to get into draft strategy right now. It's not what we're here for. But the Rockies may, if they get themselves big dog Ethan, they may have to go actually over slot with that pick and then get a little more creative in the second round and whatnot. So hard to say exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah,
if they get Ethan, names. That's going to change a lot. And they might have to look down the board with their second round pick.
And they always get creative with their draft picks. It always ends up making sense later with it. Just looking at Quick, he was a 4-star offensive lineman who drew interest from college football programs. Dude man is 6'6", 255.
He could probably be out there in like 2 weeks, like get up to 270 and play some guard for Alabama.
I mean, 2-way player, Denver Broncos, Colorado Rockies. It could be a thing. So Quick, I think Quick that's just insane. I just imagine. Don't see many pitchers going offensive lineman type style. But before we get into the debate, which pitcher should the Rockies go? Ethan Holiday is obvious. I think is Ethan Holiday the clear number 1 that we want the Rockies to be able to get? Like at number 4, like that's the dream scenario, or is that stock dropped a little bit?
I would at this point I would say he still is that guy, especially being at pick 4. You no longer get to control your fate. And really for me, before we talk about 3 college guys, I'm all in on like going the high school route. Those are the guys generally high school and international players. You get them in the MLB development pipeline at the age of 18. Those are a lot of the players that end up dominating the league. Like go look at the top players in the league for the last few years. Most of them were pro at 18. And that is really just indicates the skill that they have. They're higher skill level players. They get to develop in a system that might better prepare them. There's risk, but I'm all for a high school dude, Ethan Holiday being the most likely.
I mean, to that point, high school position players taken in the top 10 since 2020 to 2022. Robert Hassel III, Zac Veen, Mayer, Lawler, Montgomery, Holiday, Jones, Tamar Johnson, Elijah Green. 2 of those guys, one of those guys is an MLB regular. 2 of those are still in the top 100 prospects. It seems like a lot of names who haven't made their debut or become regulars after a three-year window. And this is from our buddy Oak Tree Status, Luke Hall, on Twitter. It's interesting. Like I love me a a project. Like, give me a high schooler that we can work out. I still think Jackson Cox is going to be something special. He's doing great things at Fresno right now. But it's just, there's so much risk. What we've seen with the Colorado Rockies, especially from the beginning to the end. Zac Veen, Benny Montgomery, Drew Romo all come to mind right away. We've loved these guys for the long time, but something just isn't clicking. I don't know. I don't know if the Rockies will take the high school player route unless they are going to do the Chase Dollander thing and the Charlie Condon. You're going to move up really fast through the system, no matter what. I just don't know if the Rockies will do that. I don't know.
I think Ethan, in part because of his last name, will be a bit of an exception in the way they think. Not sure if they're looking at any of the other high school guys. There's a couple that would make a lot of sense at the top if Ethan Holiday goes number one. I think it's really he goes number one or he's going to go to the Rockies at 4. And right. That if he's available, I think you can very much expect him to be the pick. For some people that might be like, of course he would be, but he's going to cost a lot of money. It's going to cost a lot of money, and it almost comes down to the Rockies. Like, do they want to spend a lot with their first pick? And like I alluded to earlier, limit themselves later on in the draft. They usually don't go over slot early. They did a little bit with Condon last year, actually, and it did not bite them. But there's something to think about, that they're usually the team that goes slot and maybe a touch below slot. So going with Holiday, maybe 300, 400, 500,000 above slot would be a bit of a divergence from how they usually operate.
All right. So just another thing to watch on Sunday. Go ahead and find us on the YouTube. Tyler and Lewis will for sure be on there. I imagine Isaac will make an appearance. Nobody does it better in the Rockies media. So let's talk. I want to talk Arquette before we get to Arnold versus Doyle. So Aiva Arquette, pretty sure we're saying that correctly. I don't know anything about him. I know he plays Oregon State, shortstop there, big dog, big dude. What makes us excited about possibly picking Arquette at the number 4 slot?
Yeah, I mean, I think off the bat, it's the power. His 90th percentile exit velocity, which, frankly, I mean, we're always going to get into this stuff. I think that is the best metric to look when you're looking at like power and exit velocities. 90th basically gives you an average, but it also kind of gives you the max at the same time. Like a max exit velocity, a guy could hit 115 once. Who cares if the rest of his exit velocities are like 105? 90th gives you an idea of like what this guy's actual like high-end exit velocities are likely to be. Gives you an indication of like that max power. With him, it's 108.1, which that grades that equates to like 60 grade power, possibly even 70. Like it's in that higher range. So you're getting big time pop in a shortstop. The guy's like 6'4" and actually plays a very solid shortstop. I think he's at least average there, but probably will be even a touch above average until he starts to slow down a little. So I do think of some Troy Tulowitzki when it comes to Aiva Arquette. There's
That's even a name that gets everybody excited.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why I'm not like out on Arquette. And you can watch him swing even, and you're like, there's shades of Tulowitzki in that swing, especially like in his follow through. But what really for me has him, like, I posted my little big board on Twitter. He was an honorable mention for me, like not in my top 4, really in the top 5, because I excluded Cade Anderson from that because I expect him to go top 2. Arquette was an honorable mention for me because zone contact rate of 84.5%. It's fine, but when you're picking 4th overall, between that and a 24% chase rate, you're looking at 2 very average offensive numbers, 2 of the most key offensive numbers. Like he's pretty much an average contact bat with an average approach. I don't love that at pick 4. The power's great. He also is not, I mean, based on his frame and the actual run times, he's not going to be like some big stolen base threat either. It's not like you're looking at, if Bobby Witt didn't learn to hit, where he's going to be a 30-30 guy still. Arquette might be a 30 home run guy, but he's not going to be a 30 steal guy. He might not get on base a ton. So I'm a little bit worried about Arquette being worth the 4th pick investment. especially for the Rockies. Like if you're another team and you can get creative and you don't have as big of pressure on you to like turn your team around. Yeah, for me, Arquette's a little bit. There's too much risk for a college player. This is if you're taking a college guy, you should be getting someone very certain to be a good starter. I think Arquette will be, but there's more of a hurdle there than these pitchers really.
Where does he compare to Charlie Condon last year?
I mean,
like in that realm, that worrisome realm.
I mean, Condon had actually somewhat similar hit tool stats. The zone contact, the chase rate were like I think Condon was a bit better in both regards.
Okay.
But Condon had like a 112, 113 90th exit velocity, which I mean that's in a different world. When you're talking about the difference of 4 or 5 miles per hour, that is 2 grades basically. So I truly do think Arquette is like 55, 60 power. Like there's opportunity for more, but it's like 55, 60. Condon was like comfortably 70 grade pop, and the hit tool stats were just a notch above. So Condon, they're not super far off, and especially from the hitting perspective, but Condon had a pretty clear edge on a guy like Arquette.
Yeah, and yeah, that's why I asked the question. So I don't know. It's interesting because the Rockies at the shortstop position are kind of light. I mean, you have Tovar and Ritter, but then it drops quite a bit. Dion Jorge is still crazy athletic, but there's really not much beyond him. And Jorge is a question mark at this point in time with his development. But having a big bat at the shortstop position in Colorado, Tulo, Story, like that seems to be something they've done well with across these years. They have developed shortstops that have pop, that can hold their own defensively above, but better. But like, what's that do with Tovar in 2 or 3 years? But I know you can't think about that when you're drafting a guy like Arquette. But for me, hearing Arquette, big pop, big guy, Rockies have a history of creating successful talent with that kind of mold. So I don't think I would hate it that much.
When I definitely wouldn't mind too much. And the beauty of it, as I mentioned with Holiday, you probably overspend with that pick and it would cut you down on what you do in the future. Arquette would be a guy that gives you flexibility with the rest of the draft. And so that's a benefit. Like I think it's good to just go after a guy in the first round if you think you have one, but to be able to make your second and your third and your fourth pick potentially better and go after a player
right
you otherwise wouldn't be able to select and sign at that value, that there's value in that too.
Right. I think right now I'm going to say I would rather have Arquette than Holiday. I'm just going to go on record with my very amateur analysis of what I just heard Tyler talk about. All right. What everybody want to hear. Which pitcher is the best one in the draft? High likelihood one of these guys drops to the Colorado Rockies. Liam Doyle versus Jamie Arnold. We've heard Jamie Arnold. He was a name that you dropped at the beginning of the year. Possible names to watch out for as the college season goes on. I remember Jamie Arnold. I've seen Jamie Arnold's name. Liam Doyle came out of nowhere, basically with his Tennessee volunteer attitude on the mound, which you're just come to understand as a thing, unless you're Chase Dollander. But these are the top 2 dogs. These are the 2 that you want. What is the likely one of these guys get to number 4? Because my understanding is number 2 and number 3 in the draft might be selecting some arms. I don't know I can't remember the teams, but I think I saw somewhere that the people between 1 and 4, the teams between 1 and 4 are maybe looking at arms. So what's the likelihood of these guys making it their way to us? And then what is their biggest... let's go similarities first. What are the biggest similarities between Arnold and Doyle? Just kind of on the surface level.
All right. So we'll start with the probability. I think there's at least a 50-50 shot. I would probably put it on more like 75-25 odds that one of these guys is available. Probably more like 50-50 that you have a choice even. Probably a little bit less than that. But I think Cade Anderson goes in the top 2. Either he goes number 1 to Washington or he goes number 2 to LA. I mean, we know LA is like, let's pick a guy who can be in the big leagues next week. That's been kind of their goal, and Cade Anderson probably fits that bill better than anyone. So he's going to be gone in the top 2 with some certainty. Then you have, I don't think Doyle or Arnold could go 1 overall. And so that's a little bit of a benefit to them dropping 3rd overall to the Mariners. I think the Mariners are going to be eyeing Arquette or one of the prep bats.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to go Arnold or Doyle, but certainly it's certainly a possibility. But usually not quite their style to go after a college pitcher in the first round. They did get the switch pitcher last year with kind of that later pick, but I think they'll go Arquette or a hitter, and so that's what will enable potentially both of these guys actually to be available at pick 4. But one of them almost certainly will be.
Okay.
And so getting into now the similarity, I guess really, and this is a cop-out, the similarity here is that they're both left-handed. And actually, it's a very unique class in that you have these 3 lefties at the top who are all very, very good prospects. I would say, I don't know, like I'm trying to think of Hagen Smith last year, who some Rockies fans really wanted. I think these guys are all kind of like Hagen Smiths in terms of quality. And Hagen Smith is like, he's striking out everyone in the pros. Yeah. I think he's in AA with like a 16 strikeout per 9 or something like that. So if you're getting potential, he's struggling with command, but if you're getting one of those guys potentially here, I think you're a little bit happy with that. So it's been kind of the year of the lefty. You're going to have 3 guys that are almost certain to be MLB starters for a long time, southpaws. I think that ultimately is where the similarities end, is them being left-handed.
Yeah, because they have 2 completely different just windups. Like Jamie Arnold reminds me a little bit of a Chris Sale, Max Scherzer type, lanky lefty type thing, and Liam Doyle is just like the power lefty. Like, all right, I'm gonna go over the top and come find you. All right, so Liam Doyle's fastball is really a 75 grade.
I mean, I would, yeah, I think it's at
That's
least
insane.
70. Like, to be left-handed, averaging 96 with, for him, he has a 19.5 induced vertical break, which is the carry on the ball. If you're getting 20, that's really, really good. 19.5 is good. But for a lefty to have, again, the 95.8 average with 19.5 IVB, that's and also I think he gets above average run on his fastball. So it's a really good pitch. And I mean, he had a 548 OPS against it this year, 39.3 whiff percentage on his fastball. That's like a good number for a breaking ball. 39.3% on a fastball. I'm trying to think if I've seen, like, maybe like Paul Skeens was, I can get that really quick. I don't know what Paul Skeens was getting fastball whiff rate wise in college, but 39.3 is like, that's nuts. And I think that shows you like that pitch kind of no matter what is going to be really, really good in the pros. My one concern, and there's a lot of connection here. Think about Chase Dollander, Tennessee. Chase Dollander is a guy like that fastball needs to dominate for him to be good. And when he's been at Coors Field, it has not been able to dominate because he's getting a lot less carry and rise on the fastball because Coors Field is limiting that with the altitude does not allow pitches to move with spin quite as much. And really that's what Liam Doyle relies on, is that break of the fastball from spin. Chase Dollander we're seeing have a lot of ineffectiveness with a similar approach to pitching. So I'm a little bit worried with Doyle that just the best skill there is something that won't work as well at Coors Field. You know, there's other ways to have pitching success, but Doyle, that fastball rising, it would not work quite as well.
So a little bit of a concern there, but I mean, the other lining numbers across the board, the cutter, slider, changeup, all big whiff percentages. The slider looks like it needs some work, has an 839 OPS against, but everything else is kind of nice. So I don't know, with what you just said about the fastball and the slider being a work in progress, maybe not really built for Coors. But then again, is that something that we should be worried about as we draft a guy like this that's maybe making their debut? I mean, we saw Dollander make his debut in 2 years, right? So in Doyle, can he fix that slider to match his fastball in that time? Is that something we're worried about right now on Sunday morning?
I mean, I wouldn't think too much because sticking with Chase Dollander, his arsenal and mechanics and everything like that have changed so much since 2022 when he was like the best pitcher in college baseball. And you think about what he's doing now, like his best secondary now is a curveball. And in college, it was his slider. And he's not really even throwing. He kind of ditched the slider completely. He's throwing a curveball and he's throwing a low 90s cutter, Chase Dollander. So he ditched the slider that was previously his most effective pitch. It kind of had some troubles his last year of college, but things are going to change for these guys. Right. But I also want to throw this out there. I said I was going to look. Paul Skeens had a 34% whiff rate on his fastball in college, his last year at LSU. So Liam Doyle has beaten that by 5%. So that just to put into perspective how good that fastball can potentially be.
So what we just heard you say is Doyle is better than Skeens, and we should all go all in on Doyle. That's what I heard there. Heard it here first.
Yeah, the one caveat, Paul Skeens had a 66% whiff rate on his breaking balls. Doyle, his breaking balls are getting like 30. So about half.
All right. And he retracts real quick. Doyle is not better than Skeens. But I mean, kind of to the point to my question earlier, we talked to Bryson Hammer a few weeks ago, and he changed his arm slot completely after being drafted by the Colorado Rockies. And so like we see all these development guys, like Mizorowski wasn't Mizorowski like what he is now 2 months ago. Like he's an incredible strikeout machine at the major league level, and he's doing new pitches, new things all the time. And we see successful pitchers changing their arsenal. So I think like what we have here is like what is the talent as opposed to what is the stuff. Like if the stuff is great, but like if the talent is good enough to create that stuff, we can work something else in there. So like Jamie Arnold, Chris Sale, Max Scherzer. Is that comp off, or are we going to see more, no offense to him, but like a Kyle Freeland type lefty coming out?
I mean, frankly, and we're getting, like we threw out Troy Tulowitzki on Aiva Arquette. I want to put a Randy Johnson image in your face.
Oh, shit.
Because of the uniqueness of the look that Jamie Arnold gives. Like, no one's ever going to be Randy Johnson again. Like, dude's insane. But Jamie Arnold.
Okay, real quick. Have you looked at Randy Johnson's like stats and like in his age 44 season? When he was
I have not looked in it. I'm pulling them up as we speak, but I've not looked at them.
I heard it on somebody on a different pod. I can't remember which one, but I guess Randy Johnson was a dog even in his mid 40s.
Yeah.
Like 100, I think he had 100 strikeouts and 100 plus innings for the Diamondbacks or something crazy.
Even 176 or 173 in his age 44 season.
173 strikeouts in his age 43 season. Yeah, just insane.
So Jamie Arnold's going to do that when he's 44.
For 20 years for the Colorado Rockies. We have found our ace.
But I mean, just when you think about Randy Johnson, you think about like an arm slot and power that you don't think should be possible. And Arnold does not have the power of Randy Johnson, or really, I mean, no one is Randy Johnson. That's potentially the best pitcher of all time. But you think about Jamie Arnold with this really low slot. He's throwing from a fifth grader height, 4'8" is his release slot, which most guys are going to be mid fives, like five. Even some like kind of sidearm guys might be like 5'2". So he's getting even lower on like that clock. If you think of release slots as a nice little, 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock above here, he's basically at 9 o'clock in some ways. And to be a starting pitcher averaging 93.5 with your fastball, that's pretty uncommon. And he's getting 13.9 inches of horizontal break on the x-axis, like negative to not going to get into all the negatives and like that, but it's 4.9 inches above average roughly in terms of break. And he's doing that again, 93.5 from the left side with this super low slot. and really what I want to finish with on the fastball at least is a minus 3.8 VAA, which is the vertical approach angle. Most guys are between 4.5 and 5.5, and really 0.2 is a huge. To make it simple, anything that is under 4, like you're in the threes with a VAA. There's only a couple guys that pull that off in Major League Baseball, and they're all going to be like the sidearm types. So think about sidearmers though. How many of them are starters? Like very, very, very few. That is like a relief type of thing. He basically is a reliever fastball, which can be, reliever fastballs can be dominant. He's doing that as a starter, throwing a lot of bullets. It's a super deceptive, special fastball. It is special in the characteristics that he has.
As you were talking, I started thinking about the lefties that the Rockies have in the system, and it feels like they have a type. It's too much of a type, a bad thing. Your boy, the Wizard, my guy, Proshecki. Like, we have these sidearm, crafty lefties coming in, adding a Jamie Arnold to that in a potential ideal world. I would love Proshecki to be part of the Colorado Rockies rotation. You would love the Wizard. If we have a solely in Arnold, a Proshecki in the rotation, is that a bad thing? We've always you and I specifically talked about diversity in arms and how it's been really good for the Colorado Rockies in their development. But here you are saying Jamie Arnold. I just hear Sean Sullivan plus as you were talking right there.
And I'm glad that you drew that. I didn't include it in the rundown, and I wanted to mention it, that he basically is souped up Sean Sullivan. Like, Sean Sullivan's going to sit about 90 with his fastball. Jamie Arnold is sitting 93.5. But even then, Jamie Arnold is getting even a more unique look. Like, that vertical approach angle is even flatter than Sean Sullivan. And Sean Sullivan's fastball gets to play at insane levels.
Okay. Arnold was the only underclassman selected as a finalist for the National Pitcher of the Year this year. So another just how big of a standout he was. Played in Florida State, ACC competition, not as great as the SEC. Does that ever take account? Should that take an account for like scouts and all that? Like, Liam Doyle proved himself against the SEC competition. Clearly made big strides from his year in Mississippi to Tennessee last year. And then Jamie Arnold is playing against the ACC. I mean, Clemson's no slouch, but like beyond that, I don't know really any other solid ACC teams. Is that ever a thing?
They got Miami, and if I'm not mistaken, I think
Miami is good.
I guess Wake is as SEC, I think. But I don't think it matters too much. In some ways, it's like you think about the minors, and you might have like single A and high A, and really those are so similar.
Yeah.
Single A and high A. But also, I had to just be sure of my ACC teams. Like, you throw out Georgia Tech and UNC and Virginia in that mix, like, and Wake Forest is actually ACC. I don't know why I thought they were.
Vanderbilt. You and I probably Wake Forest and Vanderbilt always get split up. Vanderbilt's an SEC team.
Yeah, that's right. So really, even the high A, low A distinction might be a little too much. Like, they're pretty similar. So I think you got to think of them very similar in terms of competition. They get some non-conference games against pretty good teams, get to play in the playoffs and stuff like that. So I wouldn't worry too much about the competition.
Okay. All right. So wrap it up here. Who both available on the board? Which one are you taking, Doyle or Arnold?
Yeah. So I guess I'll make the answer short, and then I'll finish off Jamie Arnold. That's who I would say. Finish off kind of this analysis a little bit. The slider is a very like sweepy pitch. Like, it works so heavy to the glove side, not a ton of drop on it. I like that pitch at Coors Field a little bit. I like getting some of the steeper ones too, but Rockies don't have a lot of pitches that are just those hard biting sliders. Basically a sweeper. That's kind of, Justin Lawrence status when he actually found his release point with us. But had a 467 OPS against it, 46.3 whiff rate, comfortably plus pitch. Like, it's nasty. He gets so wide. You think a lot of the Sean Sullivan characteristics. He gets super wide, creates this angle that is super hard to see, super hard to catch up with. So great slider. And then the changeup I wouldn't say it's his best pitch because it is like his third pitch in terms of usage, but his changeup averages 85.5, gets a ton of vertical break, like the type of vertical break you see on a breaking ball usually. Like he has more vertical break on his changeup than his slider. That's pretty uncommon for guys. Like changeup's usually getting a little bit of subtle drop. He's at 41.9 inches, dropping on the y-axis. It almost looks like an arm side curveball in some ways. It doesn't have like that hook shape, but it's got a lot of break, and that led to a 263 OPS against it, 50% whiff rate. So, frankly, I prefer the slider changeup of Arnold to any combo of Doyle's pitches. And then the fastball of Jamie Arnold, it hasn't been as effective as Liam Doyle, but I like it to translate to Coors Field a lot better. And I mean, it has characteristics, again, that very few pitchers in the pros can emulate. And it gives it upside. It gives it a lot of upside. Guys are going to, walk into the box and be like, the heck is this, voodoo that I'm seeing? Like, guy throwing from a 4'8" release height, and he's throwing 94, topping at 97 on me, with a little bit of run. Like, what am I supposed to do with that? So I really like the characteristics you're getting with Arnold, which is that low slot. He's getting above average extension, and there's enough power there. Like Doyle, I think is a fantastic pitcher. I don't think he quite fits the Coors Field Rockies mold quite as well, even though he might be the better overall pitcher. Jamie Arnold, he brings characteristics that you absolutely want to try at Coors Field. And I think, again, there are things that will be present. Liam Doyle, if his velocity steps back to 94 at the pro level, he's not going to be the same pitcher. Jamie Arnold, I mean, he could also lose velocity, but I don't think it would impact him quite the same, because he is much more about arm slot extension, just deception type stuff. So Jamie Arnold, that's my number 2, really. Like, in terms of realistic outcomes, I think we're Ethan Holiday, Jamie Arnold. I think Aiva Arquette is sort of this potential unlikely, maybe like a 5 to 10% chance at Arquette. I would say like 25 to 30% chance at Arnold, maybe 50% chance at Holiday, and I don't know the math if that adds up to a lot. But
all right, so yeah, we see your board. We take note. I feel like we've seen pitchers like Jamie Arnold be successful in Coors. Have we seen pitchers like Liam Doyle, starting pitchers specifically? Have we seen pitchers like Liam Doyle and Coors successful? I mean, would he be like a German Marquez? I think fastball. I don't know if that's the right comp, but
I don't know who he'd really end up being like. I don't think we've seen a lefty, though, at Coors Field in a rotation who averages mid-90s like him. 4 secondaries, 2 of which could be really good. Like, he could be kind of a unique guy to try as well, but I'm worried about the best parts of his arsenal being a little bit mitigated at Coors. So I don't know who to comp him to.
But would this be the year to just say fucking go and like, hey, let's do something different? Like, I mean, you have the big right strikeout guys like Dolander, Gray, Marquez, and then you have these crafty lefties that have always been successful, Jeff Francis, Kyle Freeland to a point. We don't have a big lefty power starter. Should we just say screw it, let's go? I mean, if you're gonna do it, this is the year.
Maybe it could be fun. It could be fun. I think Jamie Arnold is. You think about Sean Sullivan as this guy that they targeted and they've had a ton of success with. Imagine like pouring a little bit more of the potion into the recipe, and you get a even better version of Sean Sullivan. I feel like that has got to appeal to Rockies front office.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Fine. It's Jamie Arnold. I like Jamie Arnold a little bit more too, for this reason that you just laid out. There just seems to be more to it. It's like Liam Doyle's fastball is fantastic, but you have question marks about everything else. Jamie Arnold's proven it over a few years. It seems like in Florida State, there's a track record with it. The deception, everything that goes along with it, that you don't have to start from scratch with. It's already there and you can make better. Where Liam Doyle feels like, all right, you're a little bit more of a project. a little bit more work to do. It's just we need somebody quick. You can see Jamie Arnold pushing through the system because they know what that archetype is. We know what this is. We know how to make this work. Let's go with it. You're going up. You're going to join Gabe Hughes, Chase Doyle, join the whole crew up above. So, all right, Jamie Arnold. I still think Aiva Arquette would be fun. And then my big board, Arquette, Arnold, and then Holiday won't even be around at that point. Again, super amateur analysis there. Just go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, Arquette could be fun. Like, getting another bat into this group that you feel very confident in could be fun. Also, though, I think kind of to your point of adding a guy like Arnold or even Doyle to this mix of trying to get good number 2 type starters, like if you put him on any rotation, like potentially a good number 2, getting him, pairing with Doyle and really whoever else kind of emerges from the system, like there's benefit to that too.
Yeah.
But I do hear you in taking a little bit less risk. I don't think you can go wrong with that. But Ethan Holiday,
I'm not doing this on purpose. This isn't a bit. I don't think I want Ethan Holiday. I get the name and that would be fun. It's against what you were saying earlier. It's the high school part of it just freaks me out with the Colorado Rockies. I just think there's too much time for things to go wrong. Like we've seen and all these are like really injury prone things. Zac Veen injured, Drew Romo injured, Benny Montgomery injured. And so that feels like Jackson Cox injured. Like their development has stalled because of injuries. Like these young bodies, I don't know if are just built yet to be strong enough to do all this. And especially at altitude with whatever that comes later. But obviously they all got hurt before altitude. I don't know. It freaks me out putting another top first round pick on a high school name where the track record isn't there. You have a good track record with guys like Arquette. You have a good track record with Jamie Arnold. Not really the high school part. And so that's where my brain is like, no, let's stay away from Ethan Holiday just because that freaks me out.
And it's fair. Unfortunately, the Rockies have done us some trauma by taking Benny Montgomery and Riley Pint, who had all the talent in the world at the day of the draft. But I mean, in Ethan Holiday, like I don't want to overpaint it. Like there's some risk there. But with Benny Montgomery, it's like this guy, the swing is uncomfortable. That's a really big red flag. Riley Pint, he hadn't competed as much against some of the higher level talent. Like he was pitching in Kansas. And not pitching at his best against some of the you knew there were command risks there ultimately, and the Rockies took those guys nonetheless. I think Holiday, the risk is so much less than those guys, but that doesn't mean a ton. Those guys had infinite risk. Holiday just has a little bit less than that. So
Fair point. All right, let's end it with this. I posted this on my personal Twitter yesterday. What happens first? The Tigers losing 40. They're currently at 35. Or the Rockies losing 85. I think the Rockies are currently at 72.
Oh, yeah, I'll take the Rockies.
It sucks to say that.
I was hoping we were on a nice little kind of turnaround, but that Boston series was kind of a back to the basement. I mean, a level below the basement, really. That was not a very competitive looking series. So,
and the Red Sox. I mean, the Red Sox have been hot, but they're not juggernauts.
We got juggernauted. So
yeah, it was bad. All right, draft coverage on our YouTube. We'll figure out when and how, but Sunday there will be coverage with Lewis and Tyler for sure. Make sure you tune in. Go ahead and tweet at us, tweet at them, all of the good stuff, and we'll have a draft recap Monday next week. Sometime next week, we'll figure it all out. Our lives are all super busy, as you could tell from our content. It's a little less than normal, but I think our lives are going to slow down in a few weeks and we'll start ramping back up for sure in August. Anything else for the good of the cause?
It's a fun month. Draft, trade deadline. Yeah. Hopefully we'll have more time as this all unfolds. So.
Yes. Go Rocks. Woo!